Hello? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello? Perfect. Alright, good. Not much echo then. Sorry about that. Thank you, Superbench. Hello. Thank you. Perfect. Awesome. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Whistler's Cryptid Podcast. It's been a hot minute. It has. I'm not going to lie about that. It's been an eventful few months, but we're back now. Yeah. I'm glad you can't see the amount of clothes I have on my bed. So, welcome back, everybody. I hope you all have a wonderful day so far. This is a second stream in one day, but that's fine. I think I'm going to start doing these weekly again. Thursday at 6:30 p.m. EST, I think that's what I'm going to start doing. It just works best for me, assuming I don't work a random Thursday in the future. In which case, I will obviously keep you up to date and let you know. But, for now, hello everybody, what is going on? DeathSpread here. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. At the Cryptid Live Research Podcast. Just letting my Discord know, if you want to be up to date on the Discord, then definitely join. There will be a link in the description in a moment. I just have to put one in there. Like so. And yeah, so if you don't know what the Whistler's Cryptid... First of all, I'm wearing the hat because the key light that I have is very bright. And it's hard for me to see the screen whenever I stream. So I've just started wearing these flat caps that I have. But that's why. So... yeah, I apologize. I know it makes me look a lot fatter than... no, I'm fat. But anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful day. So, let your Discord know too. 2! You're letting me do 2 notifications? Boy, howdy. Will do. Thank you, Supa. Oh, wait. I need to get the... I need to get the link back. There we go. There we go. Okay. So, thank you for letting me use your... oh, yeah. Next time then. I forgot. Sorry. I follow the rules. I see self-promo, I go self-promo. It's not my channel, it's your channel. But thank you. I'll remember that for next time. My apologies. Okay, regardless. How y'all doing? So, if you don't know what the Whistler's Cryptid Podcast is, every week we go to the Wikipedia for cryptids, and we check out what the giant moa. Isn't that from, Halo? Okay, well, anyway. We check out a list of cryptids on Wikipedia, and we choose one at random, and then we go from there. We do research, we look up different websites, we read different articles, and hopefully watch even videos if we can. And all that is to make a decision on what we think of the cryptid. Again, hopefully, knock on wood, we're going to do this every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. EST. And other than that, I guess we're good. I have been streaming for about 5 minutes, and I'm also 15 minutes late, so my apologies to the people in the stream right now. But yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing. And also, I don't do research ahead of time during these live streams. I don't do anything in advance. I don't choose one in advance. It's all on the fly, because if I'm going to learn, I want you guys to learn with me, and vice versa. It was a real bird. Was it? Don't you know that birds are government drones? Have you ever killed a bird? Ah, see? You haven't. Anyway, we have looked at a lot of these. Why am I 140%? The Ninjin, we have looked at. The Mokella we have not looked at that guy. Ooh, it is dino looking. Megalodon, everyone knows about the Megalodon. It's not even a cryptid. The Frogman was fun. That was a fun one. I don't know what this is. Another lake. Now, I know it's not just from Halo. I said that poorly. It's Oh, the moa was a real bird. I see what you're talking about. Okay. No, I know. I didn't mean it's from Halo. Like, it's in Halo. That's what I'm saying. All right. I misspoke. I apologize. Good sir. But, yeah. That's what we do here. So, we're gonna choose a random cryptid here. We're gonna see what it comes up with. What is the quality of the podcast right now? Alright, I can go up to 1080p. That's good enough. If I'm lagging Super Bench, let me know, please. Alright, I was lagging wicked bad during the thing earlier today. My Beat Saber live stream, which that's daily. This is weekly, that's daily. And I just want to make sure I'm not lagging this time again. So in the meantime, let's take a look at the MOA from the hit game series Halo. Absolutely. Didn't you know? British big cats. We did look into that. Phantom cats, English lions, beasts of Bodmin. Not looking into that, but it's probably just another big cat of England, which we already looked into and pretty much confirmed. What is that thing? What is this? Own work. Okay, who's this person then? You have to log in. Well, okay, I don't create user. Oh, the user doesn't exist. Interesting. The user is a cryptid in and of themselves. I see. Lag report. All right, let's choose one at random. Okay, let's go with. I kind of wanted to go big today, especially with the UFO news out there. There was. All right, are we back? I think we're back. That hopefully should have fixed it a little bit. All right, we'll see if we continue like. What are you feeling today, Super Bench? What kind of cryptid are you feeling? Water based, ground based? Are you feeling UFOs? Are you feeling what are you feeling? You tell me. Voter's choice. Wait a minute. You know what? I can do a poll, but you're also the only one in chat right now, so you tell me. No point in doing a poll for one person. Water based are always best. All right, water based. Let's go. Let's do the flying, terrestrial, aquatic. And for aquatic, cryptid whales. It's a little too unspecific. I thought I saw one in here. Yeah, let's do this. Lake monster. Labynkyr Lake. Now, if I was reading this correctly, yeah, it's in Russia, the Sakha Republic, Oymyakotsunki Ulus. It's a lake monster. All right, so I guess we'll go with this one. Way more mysterious, more water. True, that is true. We know more about the moon than we do the ocean. Think about that one. Chew on that plastic straw. Sea turtles. Okay. Let's get to it. So this is the Labynkyr Lake. Or Labynkyr. Labynkyr? Labynkyr, yeah. This is the Labynkyr Lake. And let me close this. And let's jump right into it. Labynkyr Lake, or Russian is a fake word, is a lake in Oymyakotsunki Ulus, Sakha Republic of Russia. It's in Russia. The lake is part of... Sorry, I'm using a new program for playing music. It's a little difficult to balance with my voice. Okay. The lake is part of the Indigirka Basin and is located near the borders of Khabrovsk Krai. Russian words, man. Like, why can't you speak real language, you know? And Magadan Oblast. The surface area of the lake is 44.7 kilometers squared, or 17.3 square kilometers. I mean, square miles. Okay, I confused myself, my own confusion. And is 10-20 meters above mean sea level. Its average depth is 52 meters, 171 feet. Labynkyr Lake is unusual as it does not freeze solid during the winter as other lakes in the region do. It maintains a 2 degrees Celsius or 6 degree Fahrenheit water temperature, which causes scientists to speculate that there may be an underground hot spring or fissure heating the lake. Surface air temperatures at their lowest have been recorded negative 60 degrees Celsius or negative 76 degrees Fahrenheit. There is an 80 meter, 263 deep underwater trench that divers have not by 2013 been able to explore. There is also a suspicion by scientists that Labynkyr Lake connects to an underground tunnel to Lake Voroda, 20 kilometers away. One reason that is suspected is because both lakes are the same water levels. Folklore and eyewitness accounts speculate that a lake monster called there it is, that the Labynkyr Devil or the Labynkyrsky that word chert lives there. Research. In March 2013, the Russian Geographic Society and the Diving Sport Federation of Russia put together a scientific expedition with the goal to take water and soil samples from various parts of the lake to compare within samples taken from Lake Voroda. Secondary, the team wanted to study the human body and activity diving equipment in extreme weather conditions, end quote. They shared the results with the Mars 500 project, which was a 500-day simulation to prepare a possible trip to the planet Mars. When was this? 2013? Wow. They shared their results with the Mars 500 project. Oh, sorry, I already said that. Scientists were also interested in understanding what food exists in the winter for the few fish and other organisms that do live in the lake, as there were few observable plants under the frozen surface. Divers Dmitry Schiller and Alexander Gubin set a world record for the deepest ever dive under ice in the world with a depth of 59.6 meters. The expedition drove out to the lake using specifically modified KAMAZ trucks for the drive across the ice, according to KAMAZ employee Anzelika Akuva. It took about 20 hours to drive 30 kilometers. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Tents were set up on the ice, allowing for some protection from the wind for the photographers and rest of the team assisting the divers. Various places on the lake were chosen for dives, and one was a nighttime drive. They, quote, apostrophe, did about 200 different measurements. It took about 20 samples, apostrophe, quote, and friends. Okay. The biggest creatures that divers encountered were dogfish, which were a bit bigger than normal at about 1.20 meters long. According to Live Science, Voice of Russia reported that the team discovered a large jawbone and skeleton using a scanner. But the divers did not bring the bones to the surface. The Siberian Times states that there was no evidence that anything other than dogfish were discovered. In 2019, extensive research to identify and create a species list of Lake Labynkyr during open water and ice cover was completed and reported in the 2020 article, The Insight into Diatom Diversity, Ecology, and Biogeography of an Extreme Cold Ultra... Is this the name? Jeez. That's a heck of a name for an article. Let me... cold ultra oligotrophic Lake Labynkyr at the pole of cold in the northern hemisphere. Sounds like a line to a song. The authors were the first ever... The authors write that the first ever sampling was done in 1961 and revealed 79 species. The 2019 goals were... to study the flora and compare the lake with other lakes of Yakutia and with Lake Baikal. Lake Baikal! Interesting. We know Lake Baikal. There was a whole episode done on it with many, many mysteries to that lake. From aliens to astronauts to freaking... You name it. That lake had it all. Love that lake. Their research found a total of 123 taxa with 3 new species of flora. Here it is. Labynkyr Devil. According to folklore, Labynkyr Lake is the location of a dreadful monster called the Labynkyr Devil or Labynkyr Sky Chert. The earliest written mention of the lake monster was from geologist Viktor Trevdovergarbov, who wrote in 1953 that, quote, there have been all sorts of hypotheses about what kind of creature it could be. A giant pike, a relic reptile, or and amphibia. We didn't manage to prove... Oh my god, sorry about the yawning. Oh, really? We didn't manage to prove or to disprove these versions. We managed to find remains of jaws and skeleton of some animal. End quote. Other modern scientists have revealed that when using echo-sounding devices or sonar, they found a dense object in the water that was above the bottom of the lake. It was not a fish or a shoal of fish. Local residents report seeing something strange in a neighborhood. Who gonna call? Something strange, and local folklore goes back many generations with stories of the devil, quote-unquote. Accounts of something moving under the boats in a calm lake, shaking the vessel. One story, fishermen being bucked as, quote, if somebody was pushing it from under the water. The fisherman was struck by fear. Excuse me. They did not see anything, no head, no jaws. Soon the boat went down, end quote. A fisherman in 2000 stated that they got a signal from an echo-sounding device that something big was under their boat. They saw, quote, interesting trails on the water, end quote, and also found crushed gulls that had been sleeping on an island in the lake. Other witnesses state that they have seen the head and the giant mouth and teeth of the creature. Local legends state that the quote-unquote devil can survive outside of the water and has attacked people and animals. Scientists, like geologist Sergei Karpukhin, who spent 35 days alone on the lake, state that there isn't a big enough population of the creatures to allow them to survive. Quote, a little pack of them, like male/female plus several cubs, is not enough, he said. To survive this population must have a number of animals that the lake would be swimming with them, or at least there should be such number of them that they would not go unnoticed, end quote. Diver Schiller said he was aware of the Tverkobov story of a lake monster, but on their many dives did not see anything but large dogfish. He said, quote, we did see mirages there, something like moving islands, but all of us know that it was a common thing in any northern area with lots of ice and snow, so it's not something special about Labynkyr. Yuri Gerazimov from the Institute of Freshwater Biology at the Russian Academy of Sciences questions the size of such a large fish like a pike. From the stories that are told about it, it must be 7 to 8 meters, 23 to 26 feet. For a fish to grow, you need quote nutrition and comfortable water temperatures. Even if nutrition is perfect, there's surely the temperatures really are not that high. So in my opinion, the view about a huge pike is a fantastic one. Okay, so that is the story of Lake Labynkyr according to Wikipedia. Oh, I'm sore. Okay. So, interesting. Now, let's see if we can't... Alright. So... let's take... First of all, let me actually put this into the title of the video. So that way people who join know what they're getting themselves into. I just copy-pasted the whole article of Wikipedia. Let me just X out of that and leave page and do this proper. How about the title of the video is the entire Wikipedia article for Labynkyr Lake. There we go. That's better. Oh well. Anyway. So, let's see. Let's now take that, put it in here. Look at some images. Very pretty. It's all Russian. Oh! Explorers reached bottom of mysterious lake in Siberia. Uh-oh. Cryptozoologist. Alright, so this isn't a niche thing with the lake then. Man is just chilling. Looks like Bigfoot taking a dip. Alright. Interesting. Let's start with Mysterious Universe. Mysterious Universe. Oh. No. No, why would you do that to me, Mysterious Universe? I've dealt with you before. Okay. I guess let's just go to express.co.uk. Fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Let's do that. This is the 18th one. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay. So, this is express.co.uk. Yeah, it's UK. It's fine. I don't know anything about Express. Or any about? No. Like, just to get, like, an idea. Is this a tabloid? Let's go all the way down. All the way down. Okay, so this looks like a legit source. Maybe not great, but it is a source. Okay, that's fine. I feel comfortable with this this source then. So, here is express.co.uk's telling of the story. This article is written December 18th, 2020. Actually pretty recent. Pretty good. Archaeology breakthrough. Discovery of mysterious devil creature in Russian lake. Archaeologists were baffled when they found a skeletal remains of a devil-like creature known by many as Russia's Loch Ness monster. Russian scientists claim to have found remains of the notorious creature in Siberia, plunging into icy waters to investigate claims surrounding the mythical monster that many believe lives at the bottom of the remote lake Labynkyr. The lake is located 4,500 miles east of Moscow in the Siberian wilderness, where researchers said their underwater scanner found the remains of a jaw and a skeleton which could belong to the beast known as the Devil. Viktor Taraborkov, one of the researchers, said in 2013, I'm sorry. There have been all sorts of hypotheses about what kind of creature it could be: a giant pike, a relic reptile, or an amphibian. We didn't manage to prove or disprove these versions. We managed to find the remains of the jaws of the skeleton of some animal, end quote. Academics in Russia claimed that the stories surrounding the monster in the lake of Labynkyr predate those of the Loch Ness monster of Scotland. Wow. It's actually pretty impressive. Professor Lyudmila Emelianova of Moscow State University claimed she may have once had a close encounter with the creature. Archaeology News. The beast supposedly living in the UK, or in the lake rather, not the UK. And that is apparently from the Siberia Times. Interesting. The lake is Russia. The lake is Russia. It's like, really? She said, quote, "It was our 4th or 5th day at the lake when our echo sounding device registered a huge object in the water under our boat. The object was very dense, of humongous, homogeneous structure, surely not a fish nor a shoal of fish, and it was above the bottom. I was very surprised but not scared or shocked. After all, we did not see this animal. We only registered a strange object in the water." True. Why is this song so much louder than the others exactly? There we go. But I can clearly say at the moment, as a scientist, I cannot offer you any explanation of what this object might be. Lake Labynkyr has baffled scientists because while other lakes in Siberia freeze over solid in winter, this one does not. Despite being in the same district as the coldest village on Earth, the lake remains at a temperature of at least 2 degrees Celsius on the surface. That's pretty impressive. Like, that's something else. There's a Loch Ness monster. The volcanic rock makes up the lake bed, leading some to believe that an underground hot spring prevents the lake from freezing over. A 2006 scientific trip to the lake saw the visitors return with images of strange objects, one of which was 21 feet and 4 inches, 6.5 meters in length. They were recorded on a portable fish finder at a... What is a fish finder? At a depth of 138 to 197 feet. Is that to find fish? You just go fishing to find fish. You're divers. Go dive to find fish. I just okay. Whatever. All right. We have the morning show. We will look up the devil on, not the devil, the Lake Labynkyr devil on YouTube later. But we're going to look at other ones for now. Ah, Siberia Times. Okay, so this is going over again what they discovered. The dive was made at the request. Yep, okay. Alright, now we're getting some lore back here. What is that behind them? What is that? Is that a military vehicle? Why? Me personally believe in strange elusive species such as Yeti or Nessie or even Sasquatch, but all had photo evidence being a hoax or not. Why hide the photos if they actually found something in the lake? If any photos are produced, I am led to believe the evidence is doctored or fake, so good luck, liars. Fair. Also, this is all very broken English, reading these. Use the sonar to detect the swim bladders. What is it? Wait, is that the pocket in the fish that fills up with air that allows it to float up? Am I thinking that right? Or am I making that up? Probably making that up. Does that make sense? Because it would just have to detect pockets of air in the ocean, right? Yes, to regulate buoyancy. Right, that's what it is. Okay. I'm not making it up. Alright, 2013. This is where a lot of it comes from. This is where they talk about the devil in the article. This is where the express.co.uk article gets the information. This is straight from the Siberian Times. Also the source of the picture that we saw in the express.co.uk website. So, apparently this is the source. So let's give this a quick read. It's a very short article. Let me zoom in. The dive was made at... I'm sorry, let's do this. Divers find mysterious jaws and skeleton in Siberia's Loch Ness. Unknown remains of a large creature have been found in Lake Labynkyr, say the first divers to ever reach its floor. The dive was made at the request of Yakutia State University in order to film the bottom of the lake and gather samples of water, flora, and fauna. It is the first ever dive to the bottom of the lake, which is an altitude at 1,020 meters above sea level. Picture the Siberian Times, which is these guys. A dozen divers braved legends of monsters in the coldest winter temperatures in a venture that is likely to go into the Guinness Book of World Records. Using an underwater scanner, they discovered a jaw and skeletal remains that might be the notorious devil that was first reported by the locals in the 19th century. It was claimed on 1st of February. Reports of a monster in Lake Labynkyr predates claims about the Loch Ness monster of Scotland, say Russian academics. The lake in the Sakha Republic, or Yakutia, is seen as one of the most mysterious in the world because even in temperatures of minus 60 degrees Celsius, its waters do not completely freeze. Scientists struggle to explain this phenomenon. Of course, as we know from a few of the articles that we read prior, that is likely due to a hot spring found under the waters. Dr. Blitz, hello! I think I remember you. It's been a while. Welcome back. It's not going too bad, thank you. Life's been a little bit crazy, but things are. I'm becoming creature habit again, so it's nice. How are you, sir? Or madam, how are you, friend? Thank you, I appreciate that. Sorry, I work at a golf course, so the clientele is always, hello, sir. Hi, sir. Sorry, sir. A lot of sorries, because I'm still new to the job, and a lot of, price issues. Hey, friend, how you doing? We're going over the Lake Labynkyr today. Labynkyr Lake is basically just home to a supposed devil water creature, so we'll see about that. But okay. The lake in the we already read that. The lake averages 52 meters in depth with a mysterious underwater fissure, which reaches down to 80 meters. For the historic dive, the first time the floor of the lake has been conquered, the air temperature was minus 42 degrees Celsius and the water 2 degrees Celsius. Earlier reports said that top Russian diver Dmitry Schiller, leader of the Russian Geographical Society underwater research team, and his colleagues had reached the bottom and returned without any sign of the legendary monster. Dmitry Schiller did not meet the monster, but managed to film the bottom of the lake and took samples of the lake's flora, said a spokesman. But later it was claimed the team had found evidence of jaws and a skeleton. Using an underwater scanner, thought there was initially scant detail. Still, the reports, which echoed an account by a scientist Soviet Times who visited the lake. Soviet geologist Victor picture the Siberian Times. Geologist Victor wrote of the devil, quote, there have been all sorts of hypotheses about what kind of creature it could be. Alright, we already read that, end quote. The February dive is believed to be the first ever aqualung water dive into a natural lake in this part of Siberia, which is known as the Pole of Cold. The lake lies in the same district as Oimoyakon, site of the world's coldest ever reading in an inhabited town. The divers are expected to seek an entry in the Guinness Book of World Records as being the first in winter in a lake in such a cold region. The dive was made at the request of Yakutia State University in order to film the bottom of the lake and gather samples of water, flora, and fauna. It is the first ever dive to the bottom of the lake, which is an altitude of 1,020 meters above sea level. The expedition was supported by Russian Emergencies Ministry rescuers and also involved cameramen of the Saka National Broadcasting Company. Most divers, like Schiller, were from Tastarin. Alright, so there's... O2? What does this say? Okay. Siberian Nessie. Okay, well that doesn't help. You literally named the file. Whoever uploaded these files named them both the same exact thing. Do you know how bad practice that is in IT? Don't do that. Never name the two different files that have little to do with each other the same name. Don't do it. I promise. You'll thank me. Liud Mila Emma Lai A. Nova, Moscow. State University Associate Professor of Biology with her team on way to Labynkyr Lake in Yakutia and above, working with echo sounding device during her expedition to Labynkyr Lake in Yakutia. Picture Siberian Times. This marks the 100th anniversary of the foundation of the foundation of the Russian Geographical Society's regional branch, which is one of the oldest in Russia. Reports of a monster known as a devil and underwater links to other lakes have long intrigued scientists and the rare visitors to Lake Labynkyr. Sonar tests in the lake by respectable scientists have found, quote, strangely big underwater objects, end quote. For details and theories about the monsters in the lake which predate times, please read our earlier report here. Okay. And this is why you read the full article, because now we can have a link to another article. And this is from... So this was... What was the month here? This was February 2013. So it's September 2012. Okay. Thomas Livers. Hello. How are you today, friend? Thomas. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. We're going over Lake Labynkyr today on our weekly cryptid podcast. It's been weekly, like every 5th week. But I promise I'm going to do my best to stick to it this time. Every Thursday, 6:30 p.m. for roughly an hour or two, we're going to be going over this kind of stuff. Alright, is this a Siberian Nessie? So, is there a Loch Ness monster in Siberia? Did that just bring me to the same exact URL? What? Okay. 2 different things? Wow, alright. What is this? A 2nd grade teacher? She looks like my 2nd grade teacher. Wow. Alright, so there's actually a lot of articles on this. That guy is everywhere. This Soviet geologist is everywhere. Man, this is a long article, too. I'm sorry, I really want to read this one comment, because when it starts out with government preventing, and it's a Russian website, you know it's going to be a good comment. Good, thanks for the shout out. No, just watching and learning. Well, thank you so much, Thomas. I hope that you enjoy it today, and hope that you enjoy the podcast, and hope you decide to stick around, but no pressure either way. If you're interested, we do have a cryptid podcast playlist to watch our previous episodes, and there is a Discord link in the bottom. But regardless, no pressure on any of it. Feel free to just watch and learn, whether it's the first time or the last time. Thank you for joining today. I'm going to read this comment real quick, and then we're going to go back, read the previous article, and probably read this one. Government preventing us from knowing is painfully obvious. They want us to reject God and more, and it is happening every day. And the Incas had cave drawings of that flying dinosaur deep in Africa. Tribes report a massive scaly creature in Australia, Japan, Southeast Asia. Reports of creatures similar to Loch Ness Monster. Reports from Alexander the Great saying his men fought scaly beasts in the mountains. China coming out with festivals and drawings of dragons way before they reached by Europeans. St. George depicting and slaying a dragon dinosaur when they had never even had contact with China. Then dinosaurs existed not 500 years, and only the ones in remote places exist now. We've hunted them, and there's so many historical accounts of many peoples fighting them. I, for one, wish to visit all the places. There's been reported sightings less than 100 years ago, but I'm a broke man. One day I will, and if y'all know anyone, I will gladly join as long as anything we find is given to the public and not hidden or twisted in any way. Man! My man went on a rant! go you, Jason, from Brighton, U.S. Wow, the longest monster is a person. Okay, there are two types of people in this world. We have Jason, and then we have Noah. All right. Okay. Let's go back. Let's go back and read the previous article. Let's read this, and this is all from the Siberian Times too. And this is where am I? No, not this. I want this right here. Right. So the original article that we read talking about the findings that they didn't have any picture evidence of the devil in the lake was from February 2013, the first of the month, and that is what caused Wikipedia and other countries even, such as express.co.uk, the domain of the news site from the UK, to report on the mysterious creature. And this is the original source of that. The problem is there's no actual photographic evidence. I could probably go back to the .uk website to try to find the original source of the picture. But regardless, we go from here, and this is talking about more of the research being conducted at the time. And then there is a link to this article talking about the actual monster itself, and from September, October, November, December, January, February. So 5 months prior. A little under that because it's the 18th of September. And this is what led me to... So is this... So these are the same... Yeah, this is the same exact article. Okay. So we're just going to skip right to it then and read this article. A Moscow scientist is calling for a new scientific expedition to solve the mystery of a huge monster claimed to be living in the remote lake Labynkyr in Siberia. Is this the Siberian Nessie? Now let's open up the image. Open image, new tab. And... okay. Number one. Amogus. My first thought. Number two. That is not a fish. That doesn't even look real. That looks like somebody just put it over a photo. There's no way that's that had to have been added in after the fact. I don't know about that one, Chief. That looks like somebody just drew an outline over a photo and made everything dark except for the circle. I'm questioning the validity of that. And yes, we are quite a classroom today. Known as, quote, Russia's Loch Ness Monster, unquote, the accounts of the creature in Yukatia predate the Scottish claims, yet in many ways are similar. Intriguingly, too, there are theories that Labynkyr, which has unusual cracks on its 60 to 80 meter deep floor, is connected, not conducted, to another lake, Voroda, where monster sightings have also been recorded, including by respected Soviet geologist Viktor Terevarkikarbov, an academician not given to hyperbole. I don't know how to say that in this use. I'm dumb. Associate Professor of Biogeography Lyudmila revealed to the Siberian Times that on her own scientific mission to Labynkyr, she recorded, quote, several seriously big underwater objects, unquote, sonar readings. She's not the only researcher who have done so. Quote, it is our 4th or 5th day at the lake when our echo sounding device registered a huge object in the water under our boat. Jeez, I'm struggling. Hyperbole. Is it? Okay, thank you. I thought it was, but I thought that hyperbole and that spelled two different things, but I guess it's the same word. My apologies. Thank you, super. Quote, the object was very dense, of homogeneous structure, surely not I think we already read this. Yeah, not a fish, and it was above the bottom. I'm very surprised and not scared at the moment, as scientists cannot offer you any explanation what it might be. Right. Understood. The readings were repeated, and she became convinced that there were more than one large living object in the waters. Cool. I can't say we literally found okay, this is new. literally found and touched something unusual there, but we did register with our echo sounding device several seriously big underwater objects, bigger than a fish, bigger than even a group of fish. This is why I fully support the idea of a new trip there and extra research. I would love to take part in another visit to the lake. I know how to organize it and know enough good local people who can help on the spot. It is a hard trip, I must say, but it is definitely worth doing it again. This mysterious and very deep lake still has some secret to tell us. End quote. Freshwater Labynkyr, some 5,000 kilometers east of Moscow, is mysterious for another reason, too. It is only around 60 kilometers from the settlement of Oymyakon, the coldest inhabited place on Earth, yet astonishingly, the lake does not freeze over. Yeah, we already know that. One unproven theory is that Labynkyr, where much of the rock is volcanic, is warmed slightly from below by a fissure in the Earth's crust. Dr. That, from the Biogeography Department of the Geographical Faculty of Moscow State University, is struck by historical accounts of monsters, Labynkyr and Vorovda, and believes they are credible. They date from the 19th century, while accounts of Loch Ness Monster are usually held to emerge in the 1930s. Interesting. On the basis of quote-unquote sightings, there have been speculation that Labynkyr and Vorovda might be inhabited by a school of ichthyosaurus, prehistoric marine reptiles resembling dolphins or sharks, or plesiosaurus, a popular theory concerning Nessie in Scotland, which is often depicted with a long neck. That horse does not look happy. Another version has speculated that relic killer whales could have become marooned in Labynkyr. Some accounts even suggest that the creature makes a hideous primeval cry as it attacks its prey. Quote, personally, I do believe that when the information about something strange circulates among local people for so many years, it just can't be groundless. It means something is there, end quote. She said, quote, I know the local people very well. They are indigenous, but they do not lie, end quote, she said previously. Now she adds, quote, I have been on a dozen expeditions to this region, and I can say I know the character of local people quite well. They are emotional, but are not intended to show their emotions, and they are very true and honest by nature, often more honest than is necessary. This is why I'm not ready to reject all those stories, end quote. For her, another factor is how the stories of monsters in Yakutia relate solely to these two lakes out of more than 800,000 across this giant region. Quote, there are many lakes in Yakutia and around the Indigirka River. Hundreds of them, big and small. Their shores are more or less populated, but all the talk is about Labynkyr and Vorovda lakes, and it has gone on for dozens of years, which makes me think about it. And these stories about the local monster are older than those about the Loch Ness Monster. That person during her trip to Labynkyr Lake. Okay. That photo again. Moscow State University Associate Professor of Biogeography with her team on her way to... Yep, okay. Even so, she insisted over 2,000... Oh, see, now this is the origin. If you remember from earlier, we saw this photo. And now we're getting backstory. The lore! She insisted over 2002 trip. Quote, I did not go there to chase a lake monster. As a biogeographer, I was interested mainly in that very territory. I wanted to visit it and study it. End quote. Quote... I should stop saying that. But, of course, I was curious to see the place which has so many legends and stories. I did not suppose we could really find something there simply because we did not plan to spend there enough time. Our stop by the lake was just for 12 days. As a scientist, I know this is not enough to locate and study some unknown creature. I could put it like this, however. I believe there is a mystery in the lake because there is no smoke without fire. I like this thing. I am sure that numerous legends which exist to circulate for many years can't just be groundless. I read many different legends, but the account below is what I heard with my own ears. Now remember, this is according to Lyudmila Emilavanova, who is the research we've been reading about for quite a while between these articles. She's kind of the through line. Several fishermen who visit this lake from time to time say they experience the following when fishing from a boat in this lake. During quiet and not windy weather, when there are no disturbances in the lake, some strange waves coming from under the water suddenly heavily shook their boats. It was as if a big body was moving under the water and producing waves which reached the surface and shook the vessel. She explained, quote, these stories shook me up. For instance, about a boat which was lifted by something or somebody. Two fishermen were fishing in the middle of the lake in late autumn, They were in a 10-meter long boat when suddenly the bow began to rise as if somebody was pushing it from under the water. It was a heavy boat. Only a huge strong animal could do such a thing. The fishermen were struck by fear. They did not see anything. No head, no jaws. Soon the boat went down. End quote. Another account of an entirely separate trip to the lake in August 2006, where researchers used a hummingbird Piranha Max 215 portable fish finder. Alright, you can't be that specific and not expect me to look that up. Hold up. I'm looking this up. Okay, so this is what they used. Alright, so imagine that. Does that give a display? Wow, okay. Alright. Count me impressed. Okay. Alright, cool. Produced results echoing her findings. Images are available from this trip. Some are shown here, but the identities of those who took part are hidden. Quote, the conditions were ideal. Clear, cold, fresh water, no big waves, stone bottom without plants there, no engine on the boat, soft and slow moving. All this means there were almost no problems for the scanning. End quote, claimed one of those present. Quote, often the device showed a long chain of big fish some 4 meters above the bottom of the lake when the depth was about 30 to 50 meters. The further we went away from the shore, the deeper the lake was. At one moment, there was no fish registered for a long period. Long period. The screen was, the screen was dead. But all of a sudden, it blew up with signals about a huge shoal of fish, just like a cloud. Let me say a word about local fish. All kinds of fish here are predators. The bottom of the lake is quote-unquote dead. Stones with sand, very cold near the bottom, no plants. Fish predators just cannot swim all together, making such a huge shoal. Anybody familiar with zoology will understand what I mean. This is why it meant nothing else but the huge swimming object with some air inside. We went twice above the object. It was at the depth of 30 meters, where the floor was 50 meters below. The upper fish was at a depth of 25 meters. The lower fish was at 32 meters. It suggests the object was 7 meters wide. What was it? We can't say. Okay, so interesting. Yes, it shows you the fish as little lines. I got one of those. Do you? Oh, interesting. Yeah, look at that, huh? Wow. Huh, that's something, yeah. Echo sounding device data of the underwater object in Lake Labynkyr, with travelers drawing in red what they imagined the creature could have looked like. Yeah, fair. I switched off the fish ID, and we watched just pure scanning. Soon we registered a shadow some 15 to 17 meters under our boat. It was about 6.5 meters long. It was pretty clear and was not a fish and not a tree. There cannot be fish that big, and a log would have been registered in a different way. How can it swim under the water? The most active shadows, or bodies, were registered in certain parts of the lake when the depth was 42 to 60 meters. The next shadow, the width of the object, is about 70 centimeters, and although the screen shows its silhouette different to how we imagined, my mind vividly paints a picture of a beast swimming across the Echo device scanning ray. Another object was caught at the depth of 20 meters. It was definitely a live creature. Look at it. Look at the density! But of a smaller size, like 2.5 meters. Perhaps another giant fish or a baby of our monster. End quote. Pictures here show some of the images seen on the scanning device, including sketches drawn on the screen in red to show how the monster might look. On another amateur trip to explore the lake in 2000, Russian traveler Vladimir, finally a name I can pronounce, wrote, quote, there was a signal from our echo sounding device. Something was moving around our net with fish, something very big, 7 to 10 meters. It is hard to say because we did not know the speed of the object, and our nerves were not made of iron. There were 2 of us in the rubber boat, far away from the shore. We did not want to find it out. We just got away from there. There were interesting trails in the water, as if something big enough is swimming not very deep and playing in the water. There's a strange island there. It is in the middle of the lake, and lots of broken nests on the seagulls. Their gulls were just crushed alive while they were sleeping and did not have a chance to fly. That's depressing. Some birds were eaten, some just left there. Who did it? Okay, that's depressing. In my humble opinion, there are 4 or 5 big animals in this lake, not more. If people do not rush there, maybe they will survive. In the 1960s, there are accounts of a, quote, monster with a long neck coming up out of the lake making an eerie sound, end quote. Some versions say it was lizard-like. In Soviet times and before, the lake was almost inaccessible. Today, that is changing. Travel companies in Yakutsk, capital of Yakutia, or the Sakha Republic, are already offering private trips to visit the lake, enabling people to carry out their own monster hunts. This perhaps gives an added urgency to Dr. Emilianova's plans to reach the lake and explore in a fully scientific way, yet funds so far not found are needed to support this venture. And there she is. She emphasized, quote, apart from the legends about this monster, the lake is quite mysterious itself. For instance, distances are hard to measure there. Probably it is diffraction of light, but still, I mean, when you are sailing in a boat, you clearly see the shores quite far away. In a minute, you all over a sudden get there and hit the ground. One shore is just drift sands. One of the islands on the lake sometimes is not visible. Like a mirage in a desert, it comes and goes. There is an amazing fact, too, that this lake is never totally frozen. Not what you would expect from, as it is not far from the pole of cold. But this is the fact. The lake is never fully covered by ice, and if it had been fully covered, we could have closed the story about the monster forever. It could not survive. The question is, why is it not completely frozen? Probably because of its depth, I can suppose, too. It is somehow warmed from the bottom, but it is not really my part of the science, and would like to give you the opinion of some colleague rather than my own suggestion. I met a scientist in Yakutsk who met me there and registered a depth of an 80 meters in Labynkyr Lake. There is also an absence of plants there. It is another mystery. There are 13 fish species in the lake. Of course, they eat one another, but not all of them. Some would need plants for food, yet these appear to be absent. While she has conducted no research on it, she said that, quote, some scientists believe that this lake is connected with other lakes at the same plateau, at least with Lake Vorovda, via some underground tunnel system. Accounts of strange creatures in the lake, often called the Labynkyr Devil, have been passed down from generation to generation. One version of the monster is of dark gray color with a huge mouth and distance between its eyes just as the size of a raft made of 10 logs. The legend says that the animal is aggressive, it can attack people and animals, and it can leave the water and go on the shore. That does, surprisingly enough, match up pretty well with the seagulls and them being crushed on the island in the middle of the lake. Interesting. A more recent sighting involved a party of geologists, some of whom went fishing on the lake. Suddenly those in the boat started screaming. Apparently, they saw a huge head of some creature. Others who were waiting for them on shore started shooting and scared the creature away. I mean, you know what? Fair. I was gonna say Russia, but like, yeah, America too. Some years ago, Itogi magazine analyzed the sightings and concluded, quote, comparing these stories, we can say that it is 9 to 10 meters long, 1.2 to 1.5 meters wide. Its jaw is huge, up to 1/3 size of its body, looking like a huge beak with lots of teeth, and there is a sort of bone-made horn on top of the animal. The creature was met either in Labynkyr or in Vorovda Lake. Locals believe these lakes are connected to each other with the help of an underground passages. Grasping for mundane theories to explain what the creature might be, if not a leftover from the Jurassic Age that somehow defied both extinction and the Ice Age, some have suggested abnormally huge and well-fed pike. Yuri Gerimov, head of the ichthyology department of the Institute of Biology of Freshwater on the Russian Academy of Sciences, is dubious. Quote, I've never come across such a big pike, and I highly doubt they can exist. If we trust the stories about this devil, there must be about 1.5 meters between its eyes. It means the length of its body must be about 7 to 8 meters. Pike do not live so long in order to reach such a big size. There are two factors that help fish to grow: nutrition and comfortable water temperatures. Even if nutrition is perfect, their surely temperatures are not that high. So in my opinion, the view about a huge pike is a fantastic one. We read that earlier. Another Russian traveler, Sergei Karapukhin, a former geologist who once spent about 35 days alone at Labynkyr, questions two basic premises of the monster theory. If these monsters were to survive down the ages, there must be sufficient of them to reproduce. True. There would also need to be connections to other lakes, something he disputes. A little pack of them, like male, female, plus several cubs is not enough, he said. To survive, this population must have a number of animals that the lake would be swarming with them. Or at least, there should be such a number of them that they would not go unnoticed, given the description of them being quite big and the lake is not that large. I even think that there will need to be more creatures in the neighboring lakes, which the Labynkyr ones can be in contact with. Only then can they survive. Now, the Labynkyr Devil defenders would, I know, refer to Lake Vorovda, some 20 kilometers away from Labynkyr. This is where Chernobyl saw the mysterious creature. Here the legend has some extra bits to it that allegedly the lakes are connected with some underground canals. I will argue from a position of a geologist, it is possible that two connected lakes. But when the lakes of karstic origin, there must be some carbonaceous stones which can be dissolved by water. But there aren't any. The stones there are all volcanic. Oh, interesting. Very intriguing. Accounts began reaching the outside world after 9 geologists led by Viktor Tarakodobov of the East Siberian branch of the Soviet Academy of Sciences were involved in an expedition into this remote corner of the USSR in the summer of '53, a few months after the death of Stalin. As I love how, given that this is, what is this called again? Siberian times? They not only constantly call it the Soviet times, which makes sense. I mean, it's a Russian-based magazine, but it's like the death of Stalin is now used as a measurement of time. It's almost like I don't want to compare it to 9/11, but that's what it feels like, because I feel like nowadays, if this was, say, in America, it would say about a month after 9/11. Here it's a few months after the death of Stalin. It's like, it's so intrinsic. I don't know. It's just something I'm noticing. All right. It's just a little, that's intriguing. Anyway, as they rode on horseback, their guide was the elderly Varfolomomy Vinkurov, a local man. It took 8 years, his diary account, to be published in a Soviet magazine, and this referred to his own sighting in Lake Voronezh, a name which literally gates, an unusual name for a lake, perhaps signifying gates of the devil, while also including historical accounts to be heard by locals. Excuse me. Oh, okay, now here we actually have some passages from the diary. Excuse me. May 30th. We left Tomtor village. Sorry, I should probably do. May 30th. We left Tomtor village, went 70 kilometers up the Kwidusun valley, turned left and got to the large Sorodonko plateau. Ahead of us, there is Lake Labynkyr, where there is storage with food and equipment. There are many legends about this lake of Labynkyr. In the evening, sitting by the fire of our old guide, he told us that a devil lived in this lake. He is so big that the distance between his eyes, as Varfolomy said, is wider than a fisherman's raft made of 10 logs. I heard about this devil before, and many times. In Ust-Nur, I heard that the devil ate a dog. The dog swam to bring the shot duck to the hunter. Then the huge jaws raised from the water and the dog just disappeared in a moment. One of the Tomtor villagers told me that one day he found a huge bone on the shore of Lake Labynkyr. It was like the devil's jaw. If you put it vertically, you could ride it on a horse through it like under an arc. He said his jawbone remained near the fisherman's house on the shore. I heard legends of how how a whole caravan perished going under the ice of Labynkyr. It was spoken that people saw a big horn stuck out of the ice. People gathered around it on the ice and tried to take it up. Suddenly the ice broke and many people and reindeer died. June 5th. Earlier in the morning, we got to the shore of Lake Labynkyr and reached the storage. Comfortable tents with wooden beds and floor and table awaited us. June 7th. We are having a rest. Lake Labynkyr is a square, 15 kilometers long and 3 kilometers wide. I found a ruined fisherman's house on the shore, carefully explored the house and all around it, but did not find any jawbone. He did not witness anything untoward in Labynkyr, but went on with his expedition. July 28th. And now we stopped at the shore of Lake Voronezh. Mikhail made a raft and went to measure the depth. It is 60 meters as in Labynkyr, but the lake itself is much smaller. July 30th. This is what happened today. It was sunny, friendly morning. Boris Bashkatov and I went on a walking trip around Lake Voronezh. We had to climb rocks on the way. About 11 a.m., the way became dangerous and we decided to go down a bit, closer to the water. Looking at the water from the rock, I clearly saw a terrace under the water with a huge white spot on it. But when I looked at the terrace, again a minute later, there was no white spot there. Maybe Sunshine is joking with me, I thought. But suddenly Boris shouted, "Look! What is there in the middle?" We stopped. Some 300 to 400 meters away on the water, there was clearly seen some white object shining under the sunlight. "A barrel," said Boris, "made of tin. Maybe a horse got into the lake," I said. Truly, the object was swimming, and fast enough. It was something alive, some animal. It was making an arc, first along the lake, then right towards us. As it was getting closer, a strange coldness like a stupor was growing inside of me. Above the water there was a big dark gray body. The white color had gone. On this gray dark background, there was clearly visible two symmetrical light spots looking like eyes, and there was just stick in the body, maybe a fin or harpoon of an unlucky fisherman. We saw just a part of the animal, but we could guess its much bigger, massive body was under the water. We could guess that this looking how the monster was moving. Raising from the water, it threw its body forward, then fully went under the water. At this time, the waves were going away from its head, waves originating from under the water, flapping its mouth, catching fish, I guessed. The animal was obviously swimming towards us, and the waves made by the animal reached our legs. We looked at each other and immediately began to climb up the rock. What if it goes out of the water? We witnessed a predator, no doubt, one of the strongest predators in this world. Such indomitable, merciless, and some sensible fierceness was in every of his movement, in all its looks. The animal stopped 100 meters away from the shore. Suddenly it began to beat against the water. Waves went all ways. We could not understand what was going on. Maybe it lasted just a minute. That the animal was gone. Dived. It was only then I thought about a camera. We stood for another 10 to 20 minutes. It was quiet. We went further. There was no doubt we saw the devil, the legendary monster of this area. The Yakut fisherman was right. The animal had dark gray skin, and the distance between his eyes was surely not less than a raft of 10 logs. But he saw it in Labynkyr, and we saw it in Veroda Lake. They are 20 kilometers away from each other, and they are not connected. I recalled that white spot under the water. Obviously, the animal was hunting at that underwater terrace, and we scared it when shouting, going down the rocks. There is now the possibility that the waters of the two lakes are connected by a subterranean channel. For Tarkarabodulabov, the sighting reminded him of the killer whales he had seen in the Sea of Okhotsk. At first I thought that this animal is an unknown offspring of extinct animals who inhabited the area ages ago. But this feeling of fierceness was so familiar to me. Where could I see it? In 1945, he had a close encounter with such a creature when swimming. We turned around, and some 30 meters away in the water, we saw a huge dark gray body with two light spots and a fin above them. The animal was looking at us as if it was choosing who to start with. He also heard from many accounts from the locals of monsters in lakes on his plateau, which some geologists say may be of very recent formation. An old fisherman told how he took his net out of Lake Yastribini, and complaining it was torn, he nodded his head and blamed some animal. I did not pay attention then, thinking it was just a big pike, he wrote. I recalled the stories of the workers who saw holes in the ice at Lake Labynkyr, and one day they saw some gray body through the hole which disappeared later. Maybe all these stories are not that fantastic, and they are just a chain of real events, but if we imagine it is a killer whale, how could it get here? The Sea of Okhotsk is some 300 kilometers away, and the plateau is 1 kilometer above sea level. How would the sea animal survive in fresh water? How did it get here? Is it alone here, or is there a whole family? What do they eat? How did they survive the Ice Age? What is obvious to me, the existence of this mysterious animal is closely connected with the mystery of the plateau, how and when it appeared. His suggestion of a killer whale led to some to ridicule his account. Cryptozoologist Valery Nikolave scoffed. What killer whale? How on earth would it get there, miles from sea? A group of such creatures stranded, perhaps, when this plateau is cut off from the sea that has gone on reproducing in those remote parts? No, it's impossible. Lake Labynkyr. Lake Labynkyr. Excuse me. In a book titled Trip to the Cold Pole. Apparently it's written by Edgar Allan Poe. In a book, quote, Trip to the Cold Pole, end quote, author Gennady Brodulin recounts another tale from Labynkyr in the late 1920s. Quote, an Evenk family of nomads followed their reindeer and reached the shore of Lake Labynkyr. They decided to stay overnight on the shore. A 5-year-old child went to the bank of a stream which led into the lake where adults were busy. Suddenly, the adults heard the boy screaming. The father and grandfather rushed to the bank. They stopped on the edge of water and saw the child being carried away by an unknown animal to the center of the lake. It was a dark creature with a mouth looking like bird's beak. It held the child and moved away with quick rushes. Then it dived, leaving huge waves and dragged the child under the water. The granddad swore to revenge the devil. He took a sack made of animal skin, stuffed it with reindeer fur, rags, dry grass, and pine tree needles, put a smoldering piece of wood inside. He attached the sack to a huge stone and on shore with a rope, and then threw the sack far into the waters of the lake. At night there was a noise and splashes and terrible screams of the devil. In the morning the waves brought the huge dead animal, about 7 meters long with a huge jaw, almost 1/3 size of the body, and relatively small legs and fins. The old man cut the animal's stomach, took out the body of his grandson, and buried him in the bank of the stream. That is metal. Oh, man. Granddad built differently. And buried him in the bank of the stream. Since then, this is called the stream of a child. It is hard to say what happened to the remains of the animal, but this jaw was put like an ark on the shore. Could it really have happened? Only a fully fledged scientific mission can help to answer whether the Labynkyr monster is myth or reality. Okay. I'm not putting in random URLs. So what I want to do, okay, is if we go back here, this all got spurred by looking up Labynkyr Lake in Google. Well, not Google, but better Google. And we came down here and went to Express. Okay. Now, let's take a look at this video, because if this is anything to go by... What? Hello? No? Alright. Fine. 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 After this, go check out Mace Dog. Shout out. Okay. 2 years ago, 1 year ago, divers exploring a Siberian lake uncover a monster that has experts baffled. Incredible stories. Is there any that are really short? Whatever. Let's watch this one. Daily Dose. I'm gonna mute. Mute. Okay.
To find out, one of the biggest...
Let's see. Trying to find that picture that we saw. What is that? Triceratops? What? Is that freaking what?
Before, but would this be the day he...
Okay. Let's go to this one. What is this? Okay. Yeah, there's that photo. I don't see it. Alright. Well, that's fine. This guy really likes that one photo. Okay. Well. Is this it? There was nothing. There's nothing here. I'm sorry to say, but this is just History Channel like edits. No offense to E-Mystery, but why is there a woman? Why are we looking at a woman turning around? Why? What does that have to do with Lake Labynkyr? Alright, whatever. We're done. We're done with that. No offense to any of these. Alright, so. Oh, new camcorder footage. Okay.
Creature lurking in the depths of Lake Labynkyr.
I'm gonna keep that on mute. Okay. Where did this come from? Doesn't say. Okay. Well then. Tough finding original footage. Alright, well. That might do it for me. Hey, there we are. Represent. Woo! Okay. That's going to do it for us today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Overall, it's really whether or not you believe the stories. That story about the child, I would believe. I mean, sure, you know. What was it, Lake Voltaire, I think, or Voltor? If that's 20 meters away, yeah, sure. I could see there being a monster within that lake going over to the other one. And I get what the guy was saying about how it needs to be a type of rock that can be dissolved by by fresh water, but not if the cave was already there. That's just how it formed, you know what I mean? So I don't know, but either way, overall, I would say that this has a high probability. I would. I'm not gonna say I believe it. It's no Dover Demon. The Dover Demon, my magnum opus was my first episode, man. But highly recommend checking out your own research for Lake Labynkyr if you're interested in this type of stuff. Thank you to SuperBench45 for the idea. I appreciate it. It helps a lot. And other than that, I guess that's going to do it. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure please hit the like button. Show support because we'll make more videos just like this one. I hope to do this every Thursday now at 6:30 p.m. EST. So I will see you next week. And other than that, thank you, little elf helper Superbench. Go check out Superbench's channel, Superbench45 on YouTube. Check out his Discord. And check out his, Mace Dog's channel as well. He's streaming right now if you're watching this live. And other than that, Mace Dog's Discord as well. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Remember that somebody somewhere loves you, even if they don't know it yet. You guys are the best. You mean the world to me. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Hope you learned something. And goodbye.